Happy Budget Day. Happy first day of the Lilac Festival Day. This is live stream, so hopefully folks have the opportunity to watch this. Let me thank everyone for gathering here today, particularly members of my team, but I particularly want to start by thanking Suzanne Warren and her entire small but mighty budget team for all of their work. Let's give them a round of applause. On Tuesday, I announced historic cuts to the property tax rates that are included in this year's budget proposal, and today we will release the full spending plan. I'm proud of this budget, and I want to start by thanking the team that helped put it together again, especially the Office of Management and the Budget, as I just mentioned, under Director Suzanne Warren, and she is going to provide a deep dive into the budget in a few moments. I also want to thank our senior management team and all city team members whose diligence and commitment to service are behind the numbers that you will see on these pages. This week happens to be Public Service Recognition Week, so I want to be sure to recognize all government employees for the important work that they do. Our thanks also go to our partners in government, City Council President Miguel A. Melendez, Finance Chair Mitch Gruber, and all members of City Council whose oversight of the city finances confirms this administration's careful stewardship of the precious resources. And I also want to thank our New York State Legislative Delegation for securing an additional $5 million in state aid, which was very helpful in building this budget. Finally, and most importantly, I am eternally grateful to the citizens of Rochester for entrusting us with the resources we need to deliver the programs and services that they deserve. And as I always say, it's we, not me. And I'm proud of this budget because more than any other budget I have been involved with, both as mayor and city council, this budget is a prosperity budget. It's a budget that strikes a critical balance as Rochester enters a new era of growth and prosperity. It doesn't have any reductions in programs or services, and it continues to make strategic investments to further drive Rochester's growing prosperity. And this budget is structured to make sure no one falls behind, especially our seniors and most vulnerable residents. Let me start with my proposal to make historic cuts to the property tax rate. 37.7% for residential properties, 27.8% for commercial properties. These are the deepest cuts to our tax rate in known memory. And on top of that, we're holding our tax levy flat for the third year in a row because we have completed the reevaluation of all city properties. It is a testament to our new era of prosperity. For the first time in generations, residents and neighborhoods in every neighborhood are building generational wealth and gaining access to capital by building equity in their homes. Overall, this budget calls for total spending of about $697 million, which works out to about 1.4% in an increase over the current year. In addition to holding the levy flat, the budget calls for no increases in user fees or refuse, recycling, or local works. But it does include a slight increase in the water rate, about $1 a month for the typical user, to continue our commitment to upgrading our aging water infrastructure. This budget absorbs many added costs to the city operations, such as fuel, labor, and inflation. Yet it still provides the resources to create a safe, equitable, and prosperous Rochester by inspiring hope and delivering opportunity for everyone. It should surprise no one with this budget, just like the others before it, reflects public safety as our #1 priority. Overall, as we continue to work to make our city safer, we want violent crime to continue to go down, but we are, as I always say, we're gratified, but we're not satisfied. So this budget demonstrates our continued commitment to crime reduction through prevention, intervention, and suppression. In the police department, we're applying grant funds from the New York Gun-Involved Elimination Program to firmly establish our strategy of focused accountability by zeroing in on illegal guns, the most violent offenders and the most violent areas of the city. Our crime prevention strategies have a strong focus on economic mobility and youth development. As I often say, there's no better crime reduction program than a job, especially for young people. We're going to continue to provide workforce development and entrepreneurship training to help match our residents to careers in our knowledge economy. For instance, our federal and state governments are investing billions of dollars to position upstate New York as a high-tech hub, which will create jobs that require certificates instead of college degrees, and they still will pay about $80,000 a year. We're going to make sure that our residents are able to take the courses to earn certificates. The Mayor's Office of Financial Empowerment, created in my first year in office, will hit its strides this year with innovative programs like the Children's Savings Account pilot, which will start teaching children as early as kindergarten that saving money is not only important, it's also exciting and fun. In our libraries, we're fully funding and expanding the Raising a Reader program to cultivate a love of reading among our young people. And the Department of Recreation and Human Services is adding a full-time pool supervisor so we can emphasize the importance of swimming as not only a fun and healthy activity, but a critical life skill. We're going to continue with the development of the Maplewood Nature Center, because when you inspire a love of nature, you inspire a love of curiosity and a lifetime of learning. We're creating 11 more paid internship positions in city departments to help young people see the value of careers in public service. Intervention remains an important component of crime reduction in this budget. This includes the creation of the Director of Violence Prevention, who will oversee our continued investment in programs like Pathways to Peace and the Advanced Peacemaker Fellowship Program. And our Person in Crisis team will be working with the National Criminal Justice Reform Agency, the Law Enforcement Action Partnership, to explore alternative first response models. We're improving public safety with investments in our fire department and emergency communications department. The budget also includes funds to step up recruitment efforts in the uniformed services to fill vacancies and improve diversity. These include funds for 1 fire and 2 police academy classes, an expanded marketing budget, a new firefighter lieutenant position to focus on attrition during the hiring process, and summer public safety internships to teach our young people about these noble careers. We're also going to improve our emergency medical response by exploring more alternatives to traditional emergency response services, like we're doing with the Nurse Navigator program in emergency communications. Part of that effort will be the creation of a community outreach position to help our residents learn and fully understand the alternatives. I'm calling this a prosperity budget, but you can't have prosperity if you don't have equity, which is why equity remains a top priority in our budget. The property reassessment makes the city tax rate more equitable, and we're going to improve on that equity by making sure our residents take full advantage of the many exemptions and credits available to them through New York State, including the Enhanced Star and Basic Star. New York State has increased the Enhanced Star exemption by 42%, from $50,170 to $71,570, which will significantly reduce the tax burden on Rochester seniors. We're working to make sure as many people as possible know about these tax-saving opportunities by developing community outreach plans and support services for the application process. And I'm going to call the person who will be leading this effort our exemption czar. We're anticipating so many additional applications to result from this that we're adding a position in the finance department to help with the additional workload we'll be creating. We also will hire a chief data officer who will sharpen our focus on data-driven programs, including those in disadvantaged communities. Another important initiative we'll continue to invest in is our lead service line replacement program. We're also going to continue our work on developing a parks and recreation master plan, which will place a priority on making sure these critical amenities fully enrich lives and reflect the interests of the communities they serve. Likewise, we're moving forward with our tree beautification initiative, which will help close the disparity among street trees in our neighborhoods. Our goal is 6,000 trees by 2025. 2025, and we're getting there. And once again, we're going to invest in our own employees by converting 11 less than full-time positions to full-time positions, which means we're turning jobs into careers with long-term prospects. And of course, this budget includes direct investments to make Rochester more prosperous. We're moving forward on our Rock the Riverway program with projects like the next phase of the Rock City Skate Park, which will add bathrooms and other amenities so it can become a regional destination for competition and other events. Likewise, we're going to expand the public market to add more event space. Another area of this budget that I'm proud of is the focus on improving prosperity through home ownership and community involvement. We are bringing the very successful Buy the Block program to the Bulls Head neighborhood with 30 new homes. And we'll be working with our partners in the development community to create even more opportunities for affordable home ownership with new construction and rehabbing existing houses. The budget brings added investment in our neighborhoods by continuing the popular roofing program. And it encourages our residents to increase the value of their homes by improving their neighborhoods through community involvement and civic engagement. It includes funding for the Respect for Rochester neighborhood beautification program, and we're going to bring back direct collaboration between citizens and City Hall with a program modeled on the award-winning Neighbors Building Neighborhoods program. These are just some of the examples of the programs and initiatives that make up this prosperity budget. Trust me, there are many more. When I delivered the State of the City address last month, if you remember, I opened with a verse from the book of Isaiah that provided a metaphor for what is happening in Rochester at this moment in time. It stressed the importance of recognizing and embracing the transformational change that we are seeing in the city today. I said, remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness, rivers in the desert. We are perceiving these new things that are springing forth. Rochester is growing. All of our neighborhoods are gaining significant value, and residents are amassing unprecedented wealth for the first time in generations. We don't want to lose this momentum. We want to accelerate it. And that's what this prosperity budget does. But we also want to make sure all of our residents can share in that great progress and nobody falls behind. And this prosperity budget does that as well. So I'll close with the same quote I used to close the State of the City. Just like this budget, this quote comes from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when he looks to the future with optimism. And so let us go out and work with renewed vigor to make the unfolding work of destiny a reality in our generation. We must not slow up. Let's keep moving. This budget allows us to keep moving. Now I'd like to have our Director of the Office of Management and Budget, Suzanne Warren, to provide a detailed presentation of the proposed City of Rochester fiscal year 2025 operating budget. Suzanne?
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning. This is my first budget as Director of the Office of Management and Budget, and I really want to say thank you to the Mayor for trusting me with this very important duty. I'd also like to thank the Deputy Mayor for his never-ending support and to recognize the hard work of my senior management team colleagues and their key support staff in this process. My heartfelt appreciation goes to my team in OMB for their tremendous dedication and skill in putting this budget together. Through nights and weekends, I could see their active green indicators in Microsoft Teams, knowing their commitment to putting this budget together never falters, especially as our process has been moved up 1 week to give Council more time to conduct their thorough and diligent review. I'd like to recognize our Assistant Director, Sarah Boyce, my Assistant, Ijoma Bridges, and our dedicated team of analysts, Christina Heiligenthaler, Chevy Lewis, Emily Lohner, Sarah Ruckberg, and Josephus Tisdale. I'd also like to thank Elisa Sobrani and Bill Gillen and our print shop for their invaluable support of our budget production process. Yeah. This marks our second year of releasing the budget book online with OpenGov. New this year is the ability to include a variance column that shows the year-to-year budget, both in dollars and percentage, which should make the comparison between the current year amended budget and next year's budget much easier to see. We encourage as many that can access it electronically to do so that we can reduce the number of copies we print and therefore leave some trees for the mayor's tree planting initiative. You can visit our homepage at www.cityofrochester.gov/budget to access our proposed budget and capital improvement program right after we are done with this presentation. Our 2024-25 proposed budget calls for $697.2 million in spending, an increase of $9.3 million or 1.4% over the 23-24 amended budget of $687.9 million. True growth in non-ARPA related expenditures in this budget is $30.9 million or 4.7%. ARPA expenditures in this budget declined by $21.5 million as the December 31st, 2024 deadline for obligation of these funds approaches. As the mayor just discussed, and as illustrated in more detail throughout the mayor's message accompanying our online budget, this budget funds several critical investments across all of the administration's key priority areas. Back to the funding. Property tax levy, as you heard earlier this week and from the mayor this morning, our 24-25 proposed budget contains no increase to our property tax levy for the third straight year. The mayor recognizes the impact persistent inflation is having on city households and elected to hold the property tax levy flat again this year. This flat tax levy, combined with the incredible growth in assessed values across the city resulting from the recently completed citywide revaluation, will bring the homestead tax rate down by 37% to $11.11, and the non-homestead or business tax rate down by 27% to $24.77 per $1,000 of assessed value. Rochester's housing market remains in the top 10 fastest selling markets across the nation, contributing to this incredible growth in assessed values. The strength of our housing market and the shift of our region to a more service-based economy impacts our annual state mandated tax shift calculation. As a result of applying this prescribed calculation, the typical homeowner who saw a 65% increase in assessed value will see an increase of $42.81 per year, or about $3.57 per month on their tax bill. What will offset this increase is great news we received from New York State late last week for those homeowners who benefit from the New York State STAR exemption or STAR credit. The basic exemption increases $7,070 or 38.2%, and the enhanced exemption increases $21,400 or 42.7%, which is phenomenal news for our seniors. Our initial estimate that homeowners whose assessed values increased by 60% or less will actually see their property taxes go down has held true. The typical business who saw a 53% increase in assessed value will see an increase of approximately $1,125.44 or $93.79 per month when they receive their tax bill. This is a result of the net impact of growth in assessed values offset by the results of the tax shift. Again this year, as the mayor mentioned, we are proposing no increases to user fees associated with refuse, trash collection, and local works, road and sidewalk snow removal on the tax bills of both homeowners and businesses. We are proposing what amounts to an inflationary adjustment to water fees, which are proposed to increase 3.5%, which amounts to $13.16 for the year, or about $1.10 per month for the typical homeowner. Continued investment in our aging water infrastructure is needed to ensure the water quality Rochester has become accustomed to. This will also allow us to continue to make progress towards eliminating lead in our drinking water. Our 24-25 proposed budget includes $207.1 million in sales tax revenue, an increase of 4.9% over the $197.5 million included in our 23-24 amended budget. Our forecast for the current year exceeds our budget estimate by approximately 1.8% or $3.5 million. Sales tax collections in our region remain strong based on consistent consumer spending and the persistent inflation mentioned earlier. We propose to use $29.1 million in fund balance for the general fund, which is $4 million more than what we used in the current year. The good news is that we expect to restore all of the $25.9 million used in 23-24, if not record a surplus by year end due to higher revenue from sales tax and interest earnings on investments combined with lower spending. Our history of conservative financial management practices allows us to be in the position where we can balance the budget without an increase to the tax levy and still adhere to the required general fund balance minimum of 12.5% expenditures per city policy. We are so appreciative to our local delegation at the state level who listened and responded this year with a one-time increase of $5 million in AIM aid, the first of its kind in 15 years. These funds, combined with the ability to use our reserves, will allow us to keep the tax levy flat and still make strategic investments in areas of our priorities. We began our 24-25 proposed budget development process with an $88.8 million all funds gap per the multi-year projection shown in our 23-24 budget. That is not an insignificant number. Our multi-year projection typically includes a significant increase in capital expenditures, but like any household with limited funds has to do, we made a series of choices and adjusted expenditures where we could. Our senior management team diligently worked through their existing budgets to see where they could reprioritize their existing programs. At the end of the process, we were fortunate to receive the additional $5 million in AIM aid, and that we are in a position that we can close that gap with fund balance. You can find further information on how we closed the all funds gap in the schedule immediately following the mayor's message in the budget book. Moving on to personnel, our 24-25 proposed budget reflects a net increase of 42 full-time positions, or a 1.4% increase over the 23-24 budget. 7 of these positions are based on strategic investments in priority areas the mayor mentioned during his presentation. Another 26 are related to ongoing grants, including the New York State Gun-Involved Violence Elimination Initiative grant, our partnership with the school district through Pathways to Peace, and another 4 positions in the Department of Recreation and Human Services. 11 of these positions result from the conversion of part-time or temporary positions to full-time positions that include benefits, recognizing the dignity and financial stability a full-time position with benefits provides. Finishing out, I wanted to give you an update on where we are with our American Rescue Plan Act funds. We were so fortunate to have been awarded over $202.1 million in ARPA funding from the federal government back in 2021. The investments from this funding are paying off through efforts to increase the availability of healthy food through the Healthy Rock Grocer program, workforce development, entrepreneurship training, violence reduction, a guaranteed basic income program, and so much more. We have been able to replace lead water service lines, expand the Maplewood Library, and help homeowners repair their roofs and make critical repairs to their homes. The deadline for these funds is the end of this calendar year. We have made significant progress, and pardon the pun, but we will need to get the lead out so that we take advantage of every dollar we received. You can find very specific information regarding how we are using these funds, which must be fully expended by December 31st, 2026 at www.cityofrochester.gov/ARPA. Our next steps in this process will be a series of public hearings held by City Council on May 29th, 30th, and 31st. Each day of the hearings will be broken into sessions reviewing specific departments and chapters in the budget. We can provide you with that schedule if you're interested. You will also be able to view these hearings on the City 12 TV and also on the city's YouTube channel. Thank you again for coming this morning, and with that, I will now turn it back over to Mayor Evans.
Thank you. I know that we're going to allow questions at another session from the media for anyone that might have questions, but again, I just want to thank the team. I want to thank the SMT team. I want to thank Suzanne Warren and her team for their great stewardship. But I just want to put an explanation point on this budget. This is a prosperity budget that has shown growth, and it represents the growth that we have seen in our city. This moves us from a poverty mindset to a prosperity mindset, and that has been the goal of the administration all along. So there will be more to come. We look forward to the budget hearings, but more importantly, we look forward to continuing the work to enhance the city of Rochester. And again, I remind everybody, we all do this in this room because we have the support of the people in the community. I always say it's not me, not we, and for we, it's the team, the folks that are in this room that have really made this possible. So thank you all, and have a great weekend, and enjoy the first day of the Lilac Festival.